A man approached a Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra musician after a concert and shot him with a stun gun. He grabbed the musician's 300-year-old Stradivarius violin and fled to a waiting vehicle. The violin was valued at more than $5 million. Most people steal music by copying it. This man removed the entire instrument. Police traced the stun gun and arrested the suspect within days. The violin was recovered from an attic, wrapped in a baby blanket inside an old suitcase. The $5 million cultural treasure survived 3 centuries of wars, travel, and performances. Before the 1986 Winston 500 at Talladega, one inspector decided watching professional drivers was no longer enough. He climbed into the official pace car and drove onto the track. The actual race had not started, yet Talladega had its first competitor. The driver completed several unauthorized laps while police prepared a roadblock. He eventually stopped and was dragged from the car as an angry crowd surrounded him. The race continued after authorities removed the Alabama's least qualified surprise entrant. He did not win the Winston 500, but he remains the only driver whose pit crew consisted entirely of police officers. The former manager of Harvard Medical School's morgue admitted stealing human remains. The merchandise included heads, brains, skins, bones, and other body parts. He took the remains home and sold them to buyers across the country. Some customers were reportedly allowed inside the morgue to choose what they wanted. Harvard thought it was operating an anatomical research program. Its morgue manager was running the darkest shopping point system in Massachusetts. This man had access to one of America's most respected medical schools and turned the morgue into an illegal online store. Even the Harvard Business School would have rejected this business model. 2 trucks carrying tequila owned by Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar were hijacked while traveling to California and Pennsylvania. The stolen shipment included approximately 24,000 bottles valued at $1 million. The thieves allegedly manipulated the shipping process, redirected the loads, and used GPS spoofing to conceal where the trucks went. Part of the shipment included a limited tequila that had taken 39 months to produce. The criminals did not rob a liquor store. They stole the liquor store before it reached the liquor store. 3 people entered the San Antonio Aquarium and stole a live horn shark from a petting tank. They wrapped the shark, placed it inside a container, and concealed it in a baby stroller. Nothing attracts less attention than a stroller containing a wet marine predator. The group rolled the shark through the aquarium, placed it inside a pickup truck, and drove away. Police initially wondered whether the report was a prank because the theft happened during Shark Week. Officers later recovered the shark alive inside a large aquarium at a suspect's home. The shark was returned safely, while the stroller became the first known vehicle used in an aquarium heist. An Indiana man admitted repeatedly breaking into a medical museum and stealing preserved human brains and other tissue. He then listed the specimens for sale on eBay. A buyer in California paid $600 for 6 jars of brain tissue. The buyer became suspicious after noticing museum labels still attached to the merchandise. Apparently, the seller removed the brains but forgot the part containing basic judgment. Investigators connected the thefts to the man after finding his bloody fingerprint inside the museum. Police eventually recovered dozens of jars of human tissue. This may be the only online purchase worth contacting customer service by calling homicide detectives. A man in California stole a van from a mortuary. He apparently looked inside, discovered a dead body, and decided this particular vehicle came with too much responsibility. The man returned the van to the mortuary. That could have been the moment he reconsidered his choices and walked away. Instead, police said he stole a different van from the same mortuary. An employee nearly got run over trying to stop him during the second theft. Police chased the replacement van for more than 2 miles before arresting the suspect. He returned stolen property, rejected the unexpected passenger, and immediately requested another vehicle. Even criminals occasionally demand an exchange when the first purchase contains something not shown in the listing. A California man allegedly stole $34,000 worth of expensive Lego sets using dry pasta. He would buy Star Wars and Marvel sets, remove the Lego pieces, fill the boxes with pasta, reseal them, and return them for refunds. Investigators said the pasta made a similar sound when employees shook the boxes. Customers thought they were buying the Millennium Falcon and opened up ingredients to fill an Italian family. Police connected the suspect to dozens of cases across several states. He allegedly transformed store return counters into an exchange program where retailers received spaghetti and he kept the Death Star. This man tried to build a criminal empire with Lego, then he replaced the evidence with dinner. Burglars allegedly stole more than $100,000 in tools, copper wire, and vehicles from a California business. Police identified 2 vehicles believed to be connected to the theft. When officers stopped one driver, they searched the evidence he was carrying. That evidence reportedly included selfies of him committing the burglary. He had documented the crime from inside the crime scene and kept photographs with him. Police usually need fingerprints, witnesses, surveillance footage, and several warrants. This suspect allegedly created a personal photo album titled Things I May Need to Explain in Court. The burglary required an investigation. The identification portion had already been completed by the accused. A man allegedly stole a hearse parked outside a California church. The keys were inside. So was a casket containing a woman's body. The suspect was spotted the following morning and led police on a freeway chase during rush hour. The pursuit ended when the hearse crashed about 1 minute later. Police recovered the casket and arrested the driver. The deceased woman had already completed her final journey and was forced into an unauthorized sequel. A pedestrian was killed by a train near an Amtrak station in Wasco, California. While emergency workers handled the scene, another man allegedly picked up one of the victim's severed legs and walked away with it. Construction workers said he waved the leg around, struck it against the wall, and began chewing on it. The morning had already reached its natural limit for horror. Then somebody treated the evidence like takeout. Deputies arrested a man nearby while he was still carrying the remains. He was booked for removing human remains, drug paraphernalia, and violating probation. He didn't steal something valuable. He stole the one object guaranteed to make everyone involved wish they had chosen another profession. 3 Texas teenagers were accused of breaking into an old grave belonging to an 11-year-old boy who died in 1921. Police said they removed the skull from the coffin and converted it into a marijuana bong. The story emerged while officers were investigating one of the teenagers for an unrelated theft. He reportedly confessed to the grave robbery during questioning. Most suspects lie because the truth sounds worse. This suspect produced a confession so depraved that police initially had to determine whether anyone would admit it. Officers inspected the cemetery and found the grave had actually been disturbed. The teenagers allegedly combined burglary, corpse abuse, drug use, and historical desecration into one evening with no adult supervision. A 16-year-old broke into the National Zoo in Washington and stole 2 5-foot gaboon vipers. He placed the snakes inside a plastic garbage bag and boarded a city bus. He had stolen 2 of the deadliest snakes in the building and packed them like laundry. As he stepped out the bus, he swung the bag over his shoulder. One viper bit directly through the bag and into him. The snakes then began crawling onto the sidewalk while the teenager told the bus driver he was dying. Doctors rushed anti-venom from zoos across several states and consulted a physician in Zimbabwe. The zoo recovered both snakes. The teenager survived, but doctors warned of permanent tissue damage. The snake spent 1 hour outside the zoo and still demonstrated better judgment than their kidnapper. 8 armed robbers dressed as police cut through the security fence at Brussels International Airport. They drove directly into the tarmac while diamonds were being loaded onto a passenger plane bound for Switzerland. The men pointed machine guns at the pilots and security workers. They opened the cargo hold and removed 120 parcels containing approximately $50 million in diamonds. The entire robbery took about 5 minutes. None of the 29 passengers aboard the plane realized it was happening. Only a small portion of the diamonds was ever recovered. One person was convicted while numerous other suspects were eventually acquitted. They entered an international airport dressed as police, robbed the passenger plane, and disappeared before the passengers knew the movie had started.